John Duff is one of the often forgotten whiskey characters of the late 19th century. He managed Glendronach Distillery. He designed Glenlawsie Distillery. He tried unsuccessfully to build distilleries in South Africa and the United States. He built Pernod Ricard Distillery in 1898, and he built Longmorn Distillery in 1893. Now, he got into the business at the wrong time because in 1899, the whiskey industry collapsed and he was forced to sell his assets. He sold Longmorn Distillery to James Grant, and it belonged to James Grant's family for the next 71 years. In 1970, a group of distilleries that belonged to different Grant families merged together. There was Longmorn Distillery, Glenlivet Distillery, and Glen Grant Distillery, and they merged to form the Glenlivet Distillery Limited Company. Now, this new company didn't last very long because in 1977, Seagrams bought Glenlivet and Longmorn distilleries, and in 2001, Pernod Ricard bought those same two distilleries. Now, for years, Longmorn malt was an element in VAT 69 blends and the Dewar's blends, but for the last 2 decades, it has been a major ingredient in the Chivas Regal range. Seagrams bought Longmorn Distillery in 1977. Then, a little more than 15 years later, they released this 15-year-old Longmorn single malt as part of their Heritage Selection range. Here is its predecessor. Here is its successor, which was released by Pernod Ricard in 2007. This mini bottle itself does not have many clues. There are no helpful numbers on the bottom of the bottle. While it has a bottling code, that code doesn't directly tell us the year it was bottled. For instance, the final 2006 batches of this whiskey had LU, LV, and possibly other bottling code numbers. This one has an LF. I'm going to play it conservative and say the LFs are from somewhere around the turn of the century, thus late 90s to early aughts. The now defunct Longmorn 15-year-old single malt. There is a lot of fruit. The fruit is, but it's just that fruit note. This significant level of fruit. Yeah, so I'm gonna just list the fruit here with my eyes closed. I get like these green melons, mangoes, guava, lemon zest. I think I covered all those fruits. There is still a significant barley note in here, even after 15 years in the cask. Peppercorns, toffee. It's not all cuddly either. I mean, there are some real significant stony mineral notes. With time, the fruit fades a little bit and that really strong stony mineral note pushes up. Solange. Wow. Right up front, you get this tease that it's going to be sweet, but the sweetness shows up for a second and then vaporizes, leaving behind everything else. It still has quite a bite to it. A real brisk, tart citrus snap. There is a green, herbal, and spicy note going through it that is from the spirit. There is very little oak. This barley note comes back in the finish and just sets in on the tongue and does not leave. The tart citrus, the peppercorns, pineapple, and banana. There's so little oak going on to cover anything up. You're getting a full blast of 1970s, 1980s Longmorn spirit. To conclude, I highly, highly recommend Old Longmorn. The problem is a lot of the old whiskey geeks already love Old Longmorn, so it's really hard to find. This is probably one of the more affordable, if you could call it that, options of older Longmorn. Today's Longmorn is a completely different whiskey, possibly due to the increase in stills, the different approach to distilling, the different management that has passed through the distillery. In hindsight, if I had the current Longmorn 16, I would compare that with this era of the Longmorn 15 to see if there's anything that links the two in style. But I don't have a Longmorn 16, so...
Papa.
Sounds like my time is up.